Meghan traveling in commercial disclosing private passenger information on TikTok, no less. But American Airlines directives on passenger identities is ironclad.
It is uncomfortable. I don't think, because she's done this before for photos, I don't think that is a real baby bump.
It's way too big. It's way too big.
And sort of too low as well.
Yeah, it's like a metre out there. I mean, It looks the wrong shape.
Where's she going to give birth there? Through her knees or something? I mean, that is too low.
They're putting themselves on the world stage using expensive PR while demanding privacy, while writing books, while being on Oprah that had 50 million viewers. People who want privacy don't do that. You live your life quietly in privacy. So it's such hypocrisy. I think they did a brilliant job.
Just when you think Meghan Markle's publicity tactics can't get any more bizarre boom, another scandal lands. And this time, it's cruising at 30,000 feet. According to Page 6, Meghan reportedly ditched her luxurious private jets to fly commercial like a humble Duchess, complete with handwritten thank you notes for the flight crew. Sounds wholesome, right? Well, it would have been if it were actually true. In a plot twist that has the internet rolling its eyes, the flight attendant behind this story is now backtracking, revealing that she never even saw Meghan on board. No photos, no videos, no eyewitnesses, just a recycled image from 2016 and a wave of awkward silence. So what's going on here? Is this just another PR fail, or are we witnessing the unraveling of Meghan's carefully crafted public image? Buckle up, because this rabbit hole goes deep, and we're breaking it all down point by point.
Meghan traveling in commercial disclosing private passenger information on TikTok, no less. But American Airlines directives on passenger identities is ironclad. So unless this was carefully planned and confirmed as a PR stunt, the flight attendant in question 100% knows she's getting fired.
When Page 6 ran the story about Meghan flying commercial and handing out handwritten notes, it read more like a fantasy screenplay than a news report. The language was overly sentimental, almost cartoonishly soft. She was painted as this gracious Duchess quietly blending in with the common folk, spreading kindness in the skies. But here's the thing. Real life doesn't read like a Hallmark script, especially when it comes to Meghan. For someone so heavily scrutinized, this story screamed red flags. Why push this narrative now? Why frame it like a royal romance novel? It didn't take long for skeptics to point out that the entire situation felt staged. The details were too polished, the tone too rehearsed. When you start with a suspiciously perfect story, expect people to look for the strings, and in this case, they found plenty.
They say they hate journalists. Harry hates journalists. But to pay PR who say what you want and who, shape social perception in your favor while also disparaging and lying about others, thereby reaching their privacy, I think the whole, worldwide privacy tour is hysterical.
Here's where the cracks become a canyon. The flight attendant who allegedly interacted with Meghan, she's now walking it all back. In an interview with a French outlet, she admitted she never even saw Meghan on the flight. So what gives? Was this a simple mix-up or something more orchestrated? You don't just misremember serving Meghan Markle. If she was truly on board, you'd know. Her presence isn't exactly forgettable. The backpedal not only destroyed the credibility of the story, it made people question the motives behind it. Why was her quote used in the first place? And why is she now retracting it? This sudden reversal only fuels the suspicion that the story was planted to serve a narrative, one that collapsed the second someone applied even minimal scrutiny. And in today's media landscape, backtracking only makes the story go more viral.
They're putting themselves on the world stage using expensive PR while demanding privacy, while writing books, while being on Oprah that had 50 million viewers. People who want privacy don't do that. You live your life quietly in privacy. So it's such hypocrisy. I think they did a brilliant job.
One massive issue with the story is the supposed leak of Meghan's flight info. Airline privacy policies are extremely strict. Flight attendants can't legally disclose passenger identities, especially not on TikTok. So, if this flight attendant really did spill the details, she was risking her job, unless someone behind the scenes gave the green light. That's where the conspiracy kicks in. Could this have been an orchestrated PR stunt? If Meghan or her team handed the flight attendant a note with the understanding that it would be shared, this wasn't a leak. It was a strategy. That shifts the narrative entirely. Instead of a kind gesture, it becomes a calculated move for headlines. And if the airline finds out, there could be serious consequences. This isn't just about ethics, it's about legality. The attempt to humanize Meghan may have crossed a line that puts people's jobs on the line.
It is uncomfortable. I don't think, because she's done this before for photos, I don't think that is a real baby bump. I
It's
think
way too big. It's way too big.
and sort of too low as well.
Yeah, it's like a metre out there. I mean, it looks the wrong shape.
Where's she going to give birth there? Through her knees or something? I mean, that is too low.
Anyone who's followed Meghan's media strategy knows she has a soft spot for Princess Diana tributes, and this one hit all the same notes. Handwritten letters? That's straight out of Diana's playbook. The late princess was known for her thoughtful, elegant thank you notes, and the public loved her for it. Meghan seems to be replicating this. Again, whether it's her outfits, poses, or now these emotional gestures, Meghan's critics believe she's intentionally modeling herself after Diana to win sympathy and admiration. But it's starting to feel less like tribute and more like cosplay. Audiences can tell when inspiration turns into imitation. If this was meant to be a heartwarming homage, it missed the mark. Instead, it reads like a performance. And the public is beginning to ask, how long can someone borrow another person's legacy before it starts to look desperate?
It makes them newsworthy. So you either then ignore what people are talking about and debating and having all the silly stuff about the fake pump and so on, or you embrace it and we do a debate and it's always the same stuff, right? You two are never going to give an inch. I'm never going to give an inch the other way. We're losing time from our lives. We're never going to get back.
Let's talk about what's not in this story. Any actual proof. Not a single blurry selfie, no airport snaps, no footage from TSA, nothing. Meghan Markle is one of the most photographed women in the world. You're telling us she flew commercial and nobody noticed? Not even a grainy fan photo? For someone who has paparazzi appear outside a dog shelter, this vanishing act is suspicious. The internet is relentless. If she was there, someone, anyone, would have posted it. The lack of visual evidence makes the entire story collapse. You can't have a fairy tale with no pictures in 2025, and if it really happened, her team would have made sure the world knew, likely with professional lighting and carefully staged smiles.
If you think about it, Meghan got everything she wanted. She got the husband, she got the children, she got the HRA, she got everything that allowed her to rise up and to have that global recognition that we know how badly she wanted that.
As if things weren't bad enough, Page Six used a photo from 2016 to support their story and didn't even bother to say it was outdated. The image showed Meghan getting off a plane years ago, under completely different circumstances. No caption, no disclosure, just a lazy drop-in that misled readers into thinking it was current. This kind of media manipulation isn't just sloppy, it's deceitful. And it backfired spectacularly. The internet quickly caught the mistake, and public trust took another hit. It proves one thing clearly. The people pushing this narrative weren't being honest. They wanted a visual to sell the story, even if it wasn't true. But in the age of receipts, fake evidence doesn't last long.
These two are not sincere people. They say that they want their privacy while going on every television show, writing books, doing 6 hours of Netflix. They're not very likable, and people are tired of them.
The real question is, why now? Meghan hasn't been in the spotlight lately, at least not for anything positive. Her Spotify and Netflix ventures fizzled, her public image has cooled, and headlines have been brutal. Suddenly, a glowing piece about her flying economy pops up. It's classic crisis PR. When a celebrity's image dips, the relatable moment story comes out. But this one felt rushed. No witnesses, no coordination, no real follow-through. Instead of redemption, it delivered ridicule, and the timing only made it more obvious. Audiences today are media literate. They know when they're being sold a comeback moment, and this one was just too sloppy to stick.
Prince Harry allowing a video like that so private to be put into the public domain to try and make some sort of point is equally off.
What really tanked this entire episode was how easily the whole thing fell apart. A little digging exposed a weak foundation. No real witnesses, an unreliable source, a fake image, and no timeline that made sense. If this was supposed to be a controlled media moment, it went off the rails fast. In fact, it's hard to believe any serious PR team signed off on this. If they did, it's amateur hour at the palace. Meghan's team should know better than to throw out a fairy tale without the receipts. This wasn't just a minor embarrassment, it was a full-blown reputational setback. And the internet isn't forgetting it anytime soon.
Yeah, professionally working as a separate entity. Look, the beautiful pictures of Harry in Vancouver, the big smile, he's so engaged. And Arthur Edwards, of course, who's followed him around the world as a Sun Royal photographer, made the point that he was really seeing the Harry of old. And it's been wonderful to see that. So,
and I feel like we have said that a number of times over the year, where we have seen him at various things on his own, and he just seems to be a bit lighter and like he's having a bit more fun. It looks like too that this professional separation is creeping into Christmas plans.
That's right. So Harry is one of the things he absolutely loves is Scotty's Little Soldiers. It's a charity for children who have lost their parents through warfare.
Another strange detail? Harry is completely absent from the story. No mention, no sighting, nothing. That's odd, especially considering the couple is usually branded as a duo. It almost feels like this story was designed to separate Meghan's image from Harry's. And that's significant, considering recent rumors of growing distance between the two. If Meghan is indeed trying to relaunch her image solo, this may have been the first attempt, but instead of a triumphant solo flight, it became a nosedive. Still, the silence around Harry is telling. Whether intentional or not, it raises questions about their current dynamic, and whether we're seeing the start of a brand split. All of this leads to one conclusion. The cracks in Meghan's narrative are no longer hairline fractures. They're turning into full breakage. From motherhood to marriage, from fame to flight stories, everything feels hyper-managed and oddly disconnected from reality. People aren't buying the curated stories anymore. They see the inconsistencies. They notice the timing. And most of all, they're tired of the performances. The public may have once cheered her on as a royal rebel, but now the applause has turned into scrutiny. And that scrutiny isn't going away. It's only getting louder.
Sussex feeling isolated in California? Why Meghan is anxious as rumors swirl about Harry. Royal expert reveals shocking details. Being away from one's homeland can be challenging for anyone, and Prince Harry is no different. According to a royal expert, Meghan Markle may be feeling increasingly anxious amid growing speculation about Prince Harry's happiness in the United States. Although the Duke and Duchess of Sussex recently appeared joyful in a photo Meghan shared on her new as ever Instagram account, expert Jenny Bond suggests that Meghan is keenly aware of the swirling online discussions questioning whether Harry is genuinely content in his new life away from the UK. According to a report, Meghan is trying very hard to show the world that she has a happy marriage, and that both of them are leading a happy family life. Jenny Bond told a media network that Meghan will be aware that some people, particularly in the UK, believe rumors that Harry is unhappy.
In a world driven by authenticity and receipts, Meghan Markle's failed commercial flight stunt is more than just a PR blunder. It's a symbol of how out of touch her media strategy has become. You can't script relatability, you can't Photoshop trust, and you definitely can't fly under the radar when your whole career is built on visibility. The public caught the inconsistencies, the media ran damage control, but the damage was done. From the fake flight story to the flight attendant's retraction, the story disintegrated faster than a cheap prop in a school play. And now, everyone's asking the same question. What's the truth, and what's just another script? Until we get answers, one thing is clear. Meghan's image rehab needs more than a handwritten note and a recycled photo. It needs transparency. And right now, that's the one thing she's not offering.